Personal experience of Buddhist practice. Overcome kidney failure through the power of Daimoku. When I was born in 1966, the death of my grandmother, who was only 52, and the rapid deterioration of my mom's health in that year revealed that all of us, and other family members, had inherited a genetic illness which develops in adult life causing kidney failure. Growing up with this knowledge and witnessing years of suffering and ill health experienced by my mom had a profound effect on me. Until I began practicing Nichiren Buddhism, I deeply believed that what I had witnessed in my mom's life would also be my destiny. I found it impossible to develop or hold on to any dreams, and lacked any sense of hope for the future. All that kept me going at times was a deep-seated anger and anguish at all types of injustice. Even after meeting the practice, it took me several years to summon enough courage and hope to chant to change what seemed inevitable. I was eventually inspired to face up to the challenge of hearing the experience of another member who was determined to overcome an illness threatening to affect every member of her family. In 2002, when my health started to deteriorate, I realized that my mom's ill health was now irreversible. Around New Year 2003, my mom's health took a dramatic turn for the worse. I was heartbroken as I knew she was dying. I had made determinations before, but at that time I was deeply redetermined to introduce her to the practice and to make every effort to become well myself so that I could live a life with dignity and value. In March 2003, although I was struggling with increasing ill health, I went to a South London area Buddhist course, which was held at the SGI European Centre in Trets, France. During this course, I decided to continue to chant for my mom's eternal happiness and protection, no matter what, and to change these profoundly unhappy family circumstances. I also determined to be able to live a life free of restrictions. In June 2003, after a relentless fight during which my mom started to chant and learn how to recite Ganjo, she died peacefully and with a smile on her face. The experience was both harrowing and awe-inspiring for me. The overwhelming and unexpected sense of peace and strength I gained from chanting throughout the loss of my mom, who was also my best friend, has never left me. She taught me, perhaps more than anyone, how to fight with dignity for the things you believe in. Only a couple of months later my granddad, my mom's dad, who I was also very close to, also died. At the same time I was advised by consultants that my kidneys were failing and that dialysis would be inevitable. My deepest fears were materializing. I wrote a letter to SGI President Daisaku Ikeda explaining my circumstances. I received a reply that he was chanting for me and my mother's happiness. I was deeply encouraged, and determined once again to live my life free of the restrictions that dialysis would impose on me. But by Christmas 2003, I was told that I no longer had any choice, either I had dialysis or I would die. The nurse booked me in for an operation in January. While chanting about what I should do next, I remembered that to give everything is to receive everything. Hence, I applied to do a volunteer support activity at SGI UK's National Centre at Taplow Court over the new year. I vowed that whatever happened I would have an experience inspiring enough to give at our general meeting, which was due to be held at the Royal Albert Hall in London on May 7, 2005. During that week at Taplow, I received guidance from a senior leader in faith. She told me, simply but compassionately, that everything was dependent upon my practice. 3 days later I collapsed with a life-threatening kidney infection, which was affecting my liver and heart. Doctors decided that I needed an urgent operation to remove both kidneys, which meant dialysis was essential. This operation ironically removed the illness from my body. For the next 2 months, I was desperately ill. I often felt lost, frightened, and angry that my life seemed to have spiraled out of control. I didn't understand why I was facing such miserable circumstances when I practiced so sincerely. I left the hospital depressed and feeling very alone. Soon after, I received another message from Mr. Ikeda, this time without my writing to him first. He encouraged me to advance in high spirits. Amazingly, I also started receiving messages and phone calls from members throughout the UK and from Australia, Hong Kong, and Japan, each one encouraging me to continue and offering Daimoku to support my life. Many of these members I had never met. I started to read Mr. Ikeda's youthful diary as if my life depended on it. I found it constantly inspiring, even though I was in a lot of pain and feeling very depressed. Somehow I began to appreciate the struggles I was facing, and my inner resolve grew stronger every day. During this time, I was also consistently supported and encouraged by more senior members and wonderful youth division friends. On March 13, 2004, I managed to attend a large SGI youth meeting in South London. There I made a deep vow to live 40 more years, purely so I could somehow contribute to spreading an understanding of the teachings of Nichiren Buddhism, whatever my circumstances. On March 15, I received a letter confirming that my doctors felt I was now strong enough to join the other 8,000 people in the UK waiting for a kidney transplant. The average waiting time is between 3 to 9 years. Many people either die before a matched donor can be found or live for years on 3 weekly dialysis, which is seriously debilitating and restricts their ability to live a normal everyday life. I renewed my vow to live a valuable life and determined that I would have a successful kidney transplant by the end of 2004. I told my friends that whatever happened had to be extraordinary. I wouldn't be prepared to settle for anything less. I was ready to chant a lot in the coming year to achieve my goal. However, to my amazement, only 7 days later, on March 21, Mother's Day, I received an emergency call from the hospital. They had found a perfectly matched kidney donor for me. I returned to the same ward at Guy's Hospital where the previous year my mum had struggled against the same illness, and was under the care of doctors who had fought to save her life over the years. But, somehow it seemed like a totally different place. By placing absolute trust in the practice and chanting Nam-myoho Renge-kyo with our whole heart, we can transform any circumstances. The transplanted kidney was such a close tissue match that doctors joked that the donor must have been my healthy twin. It was a duplex, which effectively means I received 2 kidneys joined together, and it was an immediate success. The doctors told me it was a record for anyone to receive this kind of transplant so quickly in the UK. All these things are very unusual, but together, this was truly extraordinary. This experience has proved that by placing absolute trust in the practice and chanting Nam-myoho Renge-kyo with our whole hearts, we can transform any circumstance. Despite the struggles that have inevitably emerged since the transplant, I have continued to grow stronger and stronger. I still managed to regularly attend SGI UK meetings and devote time to fulfilling commitments I had made to local members. In September 2004, only 4 months after 3 major operations, I returned to work. At the height of these difficulties in October 2003, I was appointed as a Young Women's Division leader for part of South East London. At that time, there were 15 young women practicing in my local area, each with great challenges and deep determination to win no matter what. By January 2005, we had grown to 46 wonderful young women, 6 of whom had received Gohanzen before July 2005. I feel very proud and fortunate to have supported this great group of young women, and they encourage me to grow every day. I realize I am at the beginning of a brand new life, and I feel indescribable gratitude to my donor twin who has offered me the opportunity to live free of restrictions. At the beginning of 2005, I vowed to discover what I must do now with my unique qualities to contribute toward creating world peace and to begin achieving it. I am proud to have been asked to support other bereaved families through the transplant support program. I chant to touch the heart of every family I meet. Ultimately, I am convinced that this victory of mine, which I was indeed able to share with members throughout the UK at the historic meeting SGI UK held at the Royal Albert Hall in May 2005, is also the victory of all the members who supported me throughout the most challenging period of my life so far. I want to encourage everyone to continue to chant to overcome any fundamental darkness and experience extraordinary victories. I believe we all deserve this. I want to conclude with a quote from SGI President Daisaku Ikeda. Even one Daimoku can permeate the entire universe. How much greater then is Daimoku's capacity to move anything when it is chanted with sincerity and determination? Daisaku Ikeda.
The awakening mind is your true nature. Subscribe to Lotus Happiness to unleash the greatest potential within you.